With me here in the studio, I have a lecturer from Onnoghen, a political analyst, joining me to welcome Neville Obahedo. Welcome to TMI Tuesday's edition. Appreciate your coming.
Good morning, ITV. Good morning, viewers at home.
Right, so very close to Neville. He's also a lecturer here, and of course, a political analyst, political affairs commentator. Join me, welcome Ibrahim Momo. Appreciate your coming.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, Nigerians. Welcome to the program.
All right. Now, Nigerians were like aware of the trial by the Code of Conduct Tribunal that really foresaw the forfeiture of some properties of Onnoghen, and of course, the freezing of all of his account because it was alleged that he falsified his own asset declaration, and wanting led to the order he was the space, those properties still, under scrutiny and investigations for account frozen and all that. Right now, he went to appeal the case, and of course, we all know the story too well. Yesterday, it broke that he won the case with discharge, and of course, acquitted. That means he's a free man, everything restored. Neville Obahedo, what can you really make out of this? Is this a rule for the judiciary? Are they now eager, really wanting to show Nigerians and the world that we can really depend on the judiciary?
Well, thank you for asking the question about former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Onnoghen. While Onnoghen was facing trial, we had the opportunity of discussing his case here, the legality of his case. And I argued with some legal luminaries of this studio, and I said that on the basis of the law, the Code of Conduct Act, that Onnoghen was guilty, and that he was going to be removed as Chief Justice of Nigeria, on the basis of the fact that himself as a justice of the Supreme Court had presided over cases where people were alleged to have infracted the law, especially in the area of asset declaration. He was presiding over such cases, and we had over 100 of such cases where some persons were found guilty. So the rest is history now, because what I said as a political philosopher, what I said as a man who sees tomorrow from today.
Are you Nostradamus?
Came to pass, and he was removed from office.
All right.
But because of the fact that we are human beings, and sometimes it is in the human nature to want to descend on people because they are not from your tribe, they are not from your religion, or one reason or the other. Other people will commit a particular offense, and the law is very clear on it. You will close your eyes against such people when those who are not of the same religion or the same tribe with you, or of the same informal society with you, you descend on them. So in the case of Onnoghen, we have discussed it here, that even while the president then, President Muhammadu Buhari, was supposed to nominate and send the name of Onnoghen to the Senate for approval, he refused to do so. At that time, there were comments, discussions that the judiciary was under siege from the executive, and one of the targets during that period was Onnoghen. So Onnoghen played with the gallery by not declaring his asset or falsifying the document, and also discussing with persons behind the scene who now leaked the information for him to be removed from office. Now, it was when the former vice president, Professor Oshibanjo, was acting as president that his name was sent to Senate for approval and confirmation before he became Chief Justice of Nigeria. The president then did not, either deliberately, overtly or covertly, did not want the man to be Chief Justice of Nigeria. And when he came back, the man became Chief Judge. He was looking for every means to remove him from office. You go and check your videos that we have discussed here with some lawyers, you will see what I'm saying. But, well, Another thing that we have to now look at, now that the Court of Appeal is setting aside the decision of the Code of Conduct Tribunal, is the fact that there are appointments that are based on statutes. Appointments that are based on statutes, or positions that are based on statutes. The disciplinary processes for people who occupy such positions or offices are usually specified under the law. And so if you believe that somebody has committed an offense, you have to follow the process as stipulated in that law or in that act, instead of trying to use your power to deal with the person because of certain reasons that are best known to you. And as I've said, that because of the same ethnic orientation, because of the religion, because of informal group membership, as the case may be. So in every sane society, there's usually an opportunity for people who are trampled upon or people who were not fairly treated to seek redress. And in this case, Justice Onnoghen felt not well treated, and he decided to approach the Court of Appeal to review the decision of the Code of Conduct Tribunal. And now the decision has been reviewed and he has been discharged and acquitted. So be it.
All right. I will come back to you, Nabil Bakedo. Well, Ibrahim Mamo, do you share his views? Because really, when this was like, very, very hot in the previous administration, we talked about it. And right now, there's like a twist to the story. Discharged and acquitted. I mean, from all the stories from the past administration to this particular junction, do you feel that this time around, the judiciary, they are being able right now to breathe seamlessly as against the mentality then during the past administration of them being under siege?
Well, the first thing is, if I agree with him, I do, in part, agree with some of the submissions, and if I agree with some, particularly the imputation of bias. Secondly, whether the judiciary has now, the yoke of siege has not been lifted, I don't think the judiciary has ever been under any form of duress. It is my firm belief that the nature of men, when there is a judgment that favors you, judiciary is wonderful. And when it does not favor you, then there's always the element of a crying foul, because people expect that every time they go to court, they should get favorable judgments, and it doesn't happen that way. Sometimes you can even have a good case, but if you do that, if there's no diligence in the prosecution of your case, a good case can become a lost case. So I'm not one of those who believe that the judiciary has ever been under any form of duress or siege. I don't agree with that. Now, to the certain issue about Onnoghen, people will hear that he has been discharged and acquitted. But what they didn't find out is what led to his discharge and acquittal. At the Code of Conduct Tribunal, the issue that we had advanced was that he failed to fully declare his assets, and it was proven beyond reasonable doubt that indeed Justice Walter Onnoghen, former CJN, was guilty as charged. Those assets, including 5 bank accounts that were very active, one of which he used to receive funds, even from lawyers that were right under him, that were prosecuting cases under him. He was receiving funds through some of those accounts. So the accounts were active, but he failed to declare those accounts. So there is a Code of Conduct Bureau, there is a Code of Conduct Tribunal. They are not there for nothing. Every public official ought to declare those assets fully, full disclosure. It's a private matter, but they ought to be disclosed or declared in the Code of Conduct Bureau form that they fill upon assumption of office. That's where, and the CJN of the country, it's not any mean position. It's not somebody that you say he doesn't know the law. He's the chief lawyer, the chief judge of the federation, chief justice of the federation. It's not somebody who is not vested. He knew the full implication of what he was doing. So for me, that issue is a settled matter. But what happened in the Court of Appeal? It is that there was an out-of-court settlement. The Attorney General of the Federation, acting on behalf of the current administration, chose to settle out of court. And then, of course, the Court of Appeal agreed. Now, one of the terms, it was that ideally, being a judge, the issue of culpability in a crime ought to have gone through the NJC. The first line would have been the NJC. But the government, knowing that the CJN Onnoghen was the chairman of the NJC, felt no. In law they say nemo judex in causa, so you cannot be a judge in your own court.
Your own court.
So the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari felt in their own wisdom that there was no way they're going to get true, or kind of the outcome that they expect for somebody who was culpable if he has to sit over his own trial. So they chose to, in that context, to now choose to go to the Court of Tribunal, which was procedurally wrong. And that is one of the terms on which the lawyers of the former CJN went to the appeals court. That a judge, including the CJN, ought to be first court of trial would have been the NJC, and that was not done. Secondly, was that he claimed he forgot that those 5 bank accounts, among other assets that were not declared, was a case of forgetfulness. So
you're saying it doesn't have a base of tribal bias or affiliation?
No, that's why I said I didn't agree with him on those imputations anyway. Right. Because even if, you see, this local parliament, they say, the pursuit thief, he go use the head in knock wall. Because they shout my head. Let me make a key that they find me for. You are looking for, you knew the circumstances under which he clearly stated, in which you came to power. How do you, is it that is there a law? Because there's that concept of all the other pattern. In that one law was recognized. Is there a law for non-judicial officers or non-public office holders, and another law for what do you call it now? For the judges? No, there's going to be one law for everybody. That one law ought to be recognized by all. And so the issue is that if it is a crime to under-declare assets or to falsify asset declaration, not to declare some assets, when you fool their evidence that you actually own those assets, even bank accounts, they are opened in somebody's name. They are operated by individuals. Their passport, their names, their date of everything is at the level of account opening.
So what you're saying right now, the previous judgment wasn't wrong as opined by the Court of Appeal. They said the judgment is wrong.
This Court of Appeal judgment did not repudiate that judgment. It only affirmed the out-of-court settlement agreed by the Attorney General on behalf of the federal government and the lawyers of Onnoghen. So that was what happened there.
All right.
They agreed to resolve the matter amicably.
I'll come back to you. Well, right now, you heard him. He said, really, if you take a look at the case put forward against former CJN, really, he was found wanting. But Nigerians have turned, some are happy about it, that from what they said, and that our report that the judgment, the procedure is wrong. That was what they said. He talked about out-of-court settlement, but they are saying that the judgment given by that particular tribunal, so to speak, is wrong. Now, there will be between right and wrong in this particular contest. Judicial arm discrediting the judgment of a tribunal, saying this ought to be the right one. Do you see the hands, so to speak, of someone over there trying to pull a string in order to have something in store for that particular person in future? I'm speaking in parables right now. Later I may complain.
You see, the point that need to be made.
Yes.
And we have to make the point. And it is now that we should make the point, because we may not have the opportunity of making this point again. It got to a point in Nigeria's political history that it was difficult for somebody from southern Nigeria to be the Chief Justice of Nigeria. The facts are there. It was Justice Ayo Erikefe from Delta State that was the last Chief Judge from southern Nigeria, Chief Justice of Nigeria, for a very long time. I'm sure before the emergence of Onnoghen. And the power that be, the bulk of who occupies whatever position in Nigeria lies on the office of the president. And I'm saying it here, and I've said it before. The then President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, did not want Onnoghen to be the Chief Justice of Nigeria. People have written about it. We can still check. We see newspaper publication. As a matter of fact, before Professor Oshibajo became the acting president, there was going to be a constitutional crisis because they were only extending his tenure in that office in acting capacity instead of forwarding his name to Senate for approval. So I'm a human being. My co-discussor at Ibrahim Momo,
yeah,
who was my student, is also a human being.
True.
He has his own right to maintain a position.
Yeah.
I also have my right to maintain my position. But I know that I have maintained my positions on several issues without fear of any intimidation. Without fear.
If you take a look at the facts.
Yes, I'm coming back to the issue of
yes.
You
False
see,
declaration of asset, it was plain.
You see, I said it here before, that the man played to the gallery. That is to say, the man, knowingly or unknowingly, played to the gallery of those who never wanted him to be Chief Justice of Nigeria. They had the evidence and they dealt with him. I will get in it now. But dealing with somebody, whether at a legislative position level, executive level, or even judicial level, there are remedies. And in this case, this is the remedy that we are talking about. But the point I made earlier, even though I did not expatiate on this, is that there are positions of authority that people occupy in Nigeria. Those positions are based on statutes and or act of parliament. If the person is said or alleged to have committed an offense, there is a stipulated procedure for bringing the person to justice. There's a stipulated position of extraying and dealing with the person on the basis of the alleged misconduct. In this case, in the case of Justice Onnoghen, as he observed, which we have observed here before, that Onnoghen was supposed to be dragged before the National Judicial Council, and in the structure, he the Chief Justice of Nigeria, is the chairman. Now,
well, what he said, you cannot be a judge in your own case.
Well, in that case now, because what happened to Onnoghen can happen tomorrow to another person, is to amend the law and make another person to be the chairman, maybe a retired chief judge of Chief Justice of Nigeria instead of the sitting chief judge. All right. So, what happened in this case, whether it's issue of act of court settlement or not act of court settlement, the number one thing that should be taken home by everybody, including listeners and viewers, is that the position that Onnoghen was occupying at that time and the offense that he was said to have committed, which was proven. The court in this case is not, and the court in future cases that are similar to this one will not be interested in whether the person committed the offense. Oh. The court will be asking questions. The procedures to bring somebody of this caliber in this position to justice as stipulated in the act or in the law, did you follow it? Okay. If you did not follow it, everything that you have said that the person is guilty, the crime is established, goes to no issue. Okay. That's the point I'm trying to make. And that is the point I've made just now. All right.
Well, Ibrahim, you heard him. He said it's difficult for someone from the South region to be the chief judge of Nigeria, or the CJN, so to speak, because of some issues pertaining to statute of, let's say, the powers that be. Right now, when the Onnoghen acquitted, he talked about out-of-court settlement. Some are saying that his discharge, and of course, acquittal, is politically motivated. What do you feel about that notion?
Well,
they just satisfy some set of person in case we have an election but coming up in 2027. They'll be like, yes, he freed our brother. Yeah. Let's give him our vote.
Well, I think Nigerians are for the first time in a long while seeing a real politician at the end of affairs. For the first time in a long while, we have seen the accidental presidents. We have seen Umaru, are you dead? Somebody was complaining about president. Yeah. From Port Harcourt. He was in Germany on treatment. Are you dead? Somebody was going and became president. We have seen somebody who was taken and from deputy governor, he became governor because the current governor, DSP Alamesiga, that Solomon Peter Alamesiga, was impeached by I think 5 out of 14 House of Assembly members, and then he became governor, and then he was drafted to be vice president. And when the president died, he became president. So somebody flew, to power. So we have seen accidental. You have seen Muhammadu Buhari, who became president because there was an agitation of power shift that it ought to go to the north. So even if the sitting president wanted to be president, it was not the time for the south. So that concept was there. And then finally, we had a Tinubu who told us that this was a 30-year plan. He had been on this journey for 30 years. And that it was his turn in Milocom. So for the first time in a long while, we have a president who is a thoroughbred politician. So some of these imputations that people are making as to it was politically motivated, with an eye on 2027, it's not out of place. It is politics. They play politics. It is about politics, pure and simple. So I won't be surprised if that was one of the considerations for that out of court settlement. I won't be surprised. But I don't have evidence or fact to back that claim. So I'm not going to allege it. But I think that even if it were, it's not out of place, because this man, the current president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is indeed a true thoroughbred politician. So I'm not surprised. So, but I think that it's always important to put things in perspective. Like Dr. Neville has already pointed out very correctly too, that there is substantive case and there is the procedure for prosecution. There was a case with Ojus Okalu. Ojus Okalu was accused of corruption and he was facing a trial. The judge that ruled over his case had already been promoted to the Court of Appeal. But even after he had been promoted, he refused to leave until he completed that case. On the basis of that, he found Ojus Okalu guilty. Ojus Okalu went to court and to claim that this man was no more a high court judge. How on earth could he be the one passing the judgment when he was supposed to be in the Court of Appeal? And the Court of Appeal ruled in his favor. And that's why the issue of whether he was guilty of corruption or not does no more count. Ojus Okalu is a free man, as it were, because there was procedural error in a Court of Appeal judge now sitting over a high court. All he could have done was to transfer the case file to a different judge or to the president of the High Court, who will now reassign. But he didn't do that. So procedural. I agree with him on the point that in terms of procedure, it's not only about the substantive case, it's also the very important element of due process, which was not followed in the Onnoghen's case. So that's where I stand on the issue.
Okay, well, like what you rightly said, of saying various presidents in Nigeria since the democratic dispensation, and saying that we have a thoroughbred politician as his stamp sealed and delivered to Nigerians. Well, I want to say congratulations anyhow to former CJN Justice Onnoghen. He's now a free man, out of court settlement, political inclination or whatever it is, he's a free man. But don't you think, briefly right now before we go to the other topic of discussion, do you think this may just endear people from the South region to the ambition of Mr. President? After all, it was in the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari that this man was indicted. Right now, in this administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he was acquitted and discharged. Now, that is on one hand for the South region. For the Southeast region, he picked on a late Odemogo Juku's wife to make her a minister, and during that region also to his administration. Is this all politics?
According to Niccolo Machiavelli, one of the political philosophers that we read about, and who gave an advice to the prince that many political leaders across the world today, and even people in various offices and institutions, they read about and they apply to their own career life. So I will not be surprised if Senator Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, if he has read The Prince, I will not be surprised. And if he is acting the script of a prince, I will not also be surprised, because according to Niccolo Machiavelli, that in The Prince, in his advice to the prince, a king or a prince or somebody who is occupying a leadership position like chief of state he should endear himself to the people so that the people can love him and support him. If you do not endear yourself to your people, you endanger your life, and some of the people that are around you that you refuse to endear yourself to, they can guillotine you, they can overthrow you, as the case may be. So, still talking about the president and commander-in-chief. You know, when Yar'Adua, of blessed memory, Musa Yar'Adua, the then president and commander-in-chief, when he was elected as president, he traveled outside Nigeria for a conference or so. And when they were asking questions by the sideline, he made a statement that the election that brought him to power was heavily flawed. And he now established this Justice Uwe's commission
Yeah.
to correct all those errors. We are still waiting for such errors to be corrected. They have not been corrected. And so every election in Nigeria comes with crisis of legitimacy, including the one that brought the president to power. Now, what I expect the president to do, which I believe is systematically doing, is to give a sense of belonging to every part of this country. So we believe that any person that is fighting for, in the case of the Southeast, any person that is fighting for the Southeast to be independent, to be a separate state from Nigeria, or to be a state that the citizens are carried along and given a more sense of belonging, I believe that the person must, first of all, go to the dynasty of Ojukwu, because it was Ojukwu that laid the foundation for the struggle that we still see from the Southeast.
All right.
So whether IPOB, whether MASOB, whether any other group that is coming from there, they derive their inspiration from the mission, unfulfilled mission of Chief Odumegwu Ojukwu of blessed memory. So taking Bianca, I think I was in primary school when Bianca contested as Miss Nigeria some years ago, and I used to see her in the magazine, all those things. So there was a time she was made an ambassador, so she's already familiar with the terrain of
this is a good political stroke.
Yes, a very good thing. Very
all right.
Yes. Then the one of the chief judge of Justice Onnoghen. Well, there's nothing wrong if the president believes that he will get more votes in 2027 from South and especially from that axis, and he decide to right the wrongs of his predecessor in the office. It's a welcome development.
Let's leave it at that. Well, like what he said, we had plethora, will I say, of presidents, all right? The one that really caught was like, Yar'Adua, they say, you know, well, are you okay? The man has said that they can't pay. I will not forget that. I will not forget that. I will not forget. Someone saying he was one of the best presidents Nigeria ever had, Umaru Musa Yar'Adua of blessed memory. Well, congratulations to Ex-CJN. Yes, Walter Onnoghen, the children acquitted. Someone saying it's a plus for the president from the South region. And of course, I mean, pluses also from the North, even from the Southeast, you know, the Ojukwu dynasty taking Bianca and making her a minister. Someone said it's going to suit the nerve of people from the East, and they may just get some support from the East, because someone saying, oh, this is all about 2027. What do you think about it? Let's leave that question till that time.